Grateful to you all for celebrating the Constitution of the United States along with us. And with that, the Constitution of the United States. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. Do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America.
I watched an old woman dying on her bed, living alone. Those who were loyal to the government in Boston came and seized her and threw her in prison where she died. If you couldn't pay your taxes, you were thrown in prison without a reason. Well, my husband knew that wasn't right. And again, he was a very conscientious man, so he decided what he was going to do was to bring back the regulator movement. That meant that if 2 or 3 people went and maybe talked to somebody, they could get things changed. So he went to see his old friend, General William Shepard, in Springfield, Massachusetts, where court was to be held, where they made some of these decisions. And he went on horseback. It was all very orderly. And he and General William Shepard shook hands. And do you know that General Court was not held that year in Springfield? My husband Daniel and the other regulators were pleased with that. But not the government in Boston. They saw that as treason. They saw that as treason. And they arrested more people. Now, Charles Rose and John White, I'm so tired. I've been running. You see, I haven't seen my husband. I'm looking for him. That's why I asked you. You had seen him. Charles Rose, wasn't it? Charles Rose and John White are hanging. If you'll turn and look up, you can see them hanging there on that bough. They're frozen. I don't know how long before the government will cut them down. Well, once these people were accused of treason, that meant they had to be on the run. That meant that they would have to take up arms to defend themselves. And my husband Daniel and his friends often met at Conkey's Tavern down in Pelham to discuss things. I'm sure they had an ale or two. That's the way the men sometimes decided things. Just around an ale, and they would make decisions. And they decided the thing they would have to do would be to attack the armory in Springfield, Massachusetts. They had to. They needed to get weapons if they were going to have to fight those people from Boston, the state government. It was as though they were fighting the revolution all over again. Well, so they made plans to attack the armory in January of 1787. That's earlier this year, but that was an important time because General William Shepard began to be afraid they were going to attack the armory. And he and General Lincoln were both suspicious. And if they attacked the armory, if the rebels, if you will, if the regulators attacked the armory, that meant that whatever stores Massachusetts had would be no more. And the regulators would have arms. Regulators also thought going to that armory would be a good chance for them to keep warm. Remember, my Daniel probably doesn't have a cloak anymore. It's cold. It's windy. And he had made arrangements with other regulators, Luke Day and some other people. Luke Day was going to come down across the Connecticut River and join him at the armory. For some reason, he never made it. We don't know why. Well, Benjamin Lincoln and Shepard came reinforcements and started shooting. And a lot of my husband's men just fell. And my husband put up a truce and said, "Can I go gather and talk to my men who might still be alive and take them off?" That was granted. But my Daniel went back another time, and the shooting began again. And he finally said, "Every man for himself." He was able to make it back home long enough to say to me, "Abigail, I have to go. I'm going to escape into Vermont because I'm wanted for high treason. I've gone against the government."